Everybody good? All right, Coach, whenever you're ready.
I mean, it's always hard to win on win on the road for a game. Sorry, but you know, just one, it being a rivalry, and there always is a lot of emotions. Of course, we had a player who was back home, playing back home for the first time, so that adds to it. And they are, you know, at least for me, going through the year, they're one of the toughest teams to play just because of their size and what they do schematically. And Coach Luke has done a good job of just adapting to his team throughout the year from where they started to how they play now. He's done a great job of just making his team and putting them in the best positions. And I think that's just a testament to him and the staff and everybody over there. But for me, I'm glad because our identity showed. Our offensive rebound, our second chance points, being on the glass, 42 rebounds. The only thing I'm kind of pissed about right now is the 18 turnovers that led to 26 points for them. I thought we were having a good defensive game until we started giving them the ball.
Questions?
You touched on Trey's homecoming. It looked like in the first half maybe some of the emotions were getting a little high for him, but then he settled himself in the second half, had 15 points. Just what does it say about him and the performance he had tonight?
Well, he's been one of the guys that's carried us all year, but this is a different game. You know, it's his first time playing home. I've been in the game where I went back home to play, so I know what the emotions, I know what he was thinking. I knew it was going to take him time to settle. I thought it would be a little bit earlier, but I was glad that he was able to do it and then kind of carry us down the stretch.
Can you talk about what Malik gives you guys in terms of just the steady presence and determination?
I mean, he's just been as consistent as can be for us. You know, I'm always yelling and screaming at him, then I look up and he's got 18 and 8. And so then I got to check myself a little bit and be like, all right, he's doing fine. But, you know, he came up with some timely offensive rebounds today. The last one on the free throw for the tip in was huge. I thought this was his best rebounding game. But, you know, for me, it's hard to find too many people in ACC better than him.
Following up on the emotions as a whole, is it fair to say that in that first game it maybe seemed like it hurt you a little bit, and tonight it kind of helped you down the stretch?
Yeah, I will say. You know, I think the first game, both teams were in such different places. You know, rewatching the game this week, I watched my team and I was like, I don't know who that is. From where we were then and where we are now. And the same with his team. I think that was kind of their transition point to where they have been able to run off some of these games. The thing that I thought he did from that game to moving forward was they kind of adjusted their pace, and their threes and the shot selection was a little bit more deliberate. And they put McCray in more ball screens, and he's in the paint a lot now. And I thought that was the one adjustment from scouting him before to the first game and what they've continued to do. And it's really helped them. I mean, you look at from where they started 0-5, and they're 7-8. You know, they could be a top 8, top 7 seed in the ACC with how good the league is this year. So it's amazing what they've been able to do here down the stretch.
What were you guys able to do to slow down McCray after the big week he had last week to hold him to 9 points?
You know, he had a big-time game against us in Miami, and we thought that was the biggest factor, and it was really just his presence in the paint. So we had to give him a bunch of different looks tonight. You know, we switched a lot more than we usually did, and we saw last game down the stretch that Ernest did a good job late in the game. We had a late foul that kind of not took the game, but won them the game. And then we just switched a little bit more, made it harder for him, gave him different looks, played more zone this game than we did the first time. So just hopefully, I don't know if it actually worked, but it felt like it worked, just making them have to think a little bit more.
You have some guys with Florida State ties on your staff.
Yeah.
Does that add, in terms of just the knowledge for the players about the rivalry, or what does that do for you?
You know, yes and no. I would think the thing, especially with some of the guys with Florida State ties, they just have such strong emotions for this place. You know, there's not any animosity or everything. It's kind of like a homecoming for everybody. So the guys that we did have on staff, you know, like Eric and Moran, they both went here. You know, they walked through campus earlier. You know, CY went to all his old stomping grounds. I kept Trey in the hotel so he couldn't go anywhere. But, you know, they just have good feelings about this place. It's not any hate. You know, I've been in a rivalry where there's hate, and that's a different type of thing. I feel like there is more in the fan base, but from a staff to staff, they've always been good and great with me, and my staff was just happy to be in Tallahassee.
Anything else for Coach?
Just can you talk about basketball in the state of Florida right
Yeah.
now? I mean, obviously you guys doing well. Florida's Florida, and Florida State seems like they may be coming.
It is. I mean, Florida State is going to be. I mean, he's a really good coach. He knows what he's doing. You know, Ty Golden won national championship last year. If you look at South Florida, Central Florida, I think they're both tournament teams. And so throughout the state, basketball is kind of buzzing and booming, and also on the high school grassroots level. You know, you have a bunch of kids from Florida. I had McDonald's All-American this year. You see what the Boozers are doing. You look everywhere throughout college basketball, there's a little bit of Florida everywhere. So, you know, for me, and I think for everybody's job in the state, is try to keep the talent home and get the real rivalries back where you have 4, 5, 6 guys from the state. I think that adds to it. But right now, I think Florida is one of the hotbeds around the country for basketball.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.